We can't go further. I can't see. I'm losing strength. I don't want to lose. I can't afford to lose. No. Mother.
There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left. That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
This case makes me miss Florida. There's something about the innocence of Orlando that honestly, it's the innocence of the no innocence of Orlando. And the fact that every single documentary about Casey Anthony says that Orlando is a mecca for children. They always hear him like, it's a mecca for children and the enjoyment of children. It's like, no, it's not. It's a mecca for Oxycontin.
Yeah, well, that's certainly changed. The Orlando Magic. Remember when Shaq was on that team?
And Horace Grant.
Look at that.
And ever since he left town, that town went to shit.
Did it really?
This is Shaq's fault. Shaq was holding Orlando together.
He really was. Welcome to the last podcast on the left, everyone. I am Ben Kissel, staring at Marcus Parks in his Applewhite shirt.
It was a Christmas, or it was a birthday gift from Carolina.
Oh, the eyes are horrified. And in not so sunny Los Angeles, Henry Zabrowski.
Yeah, it's raining here, so people are panicking because they're weak. And I like watching them panic and scurry and being like, why is the sky crying? It's like ancient times. I'm very excited about today.
Yeah, absolutely. Today's episode, we're going to cover Casey Anthony. This is going to be one of two-parter.
That's right.
So we're going to get into this case. I didn't realize all this happened around a decade ago. I felt quite old realizing that.
Mm-hmm. You're wearing glasses.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But I did just order a PlayStation 4 to come in the mail, so I'm young at heart.
I don't know. Something about you in basketball shorts playing the PlayStation 4 is I don't know what it is. It turns my mind.
It's sad.
Well, Casey Anthony, a.k.a. the most hated mother in America, was a 22-year-old from Orlando with a Shamrock Tramp stamp who was accused and acquitted of killing her 2.5-year-old daughter, Kaylee, in the summer of 2008.
She was accused and acquitted.
Right.
And that's a big thing that we're going to hit today. She is not technically guilty.
That's right.
She's not.
Man, I love a good shamrock tattoo there on the lower back. That was a great time, the lower back tattoos. Not as in as they once were.
No.
And you don't have to be Irish to get it.
No.
You just have to show you can live an Irish lifestyle.
Yeah, and you just have to go to the tattoo parlor drunk.
Yes. I want to first of all say up top, let's just get this fucking out right now. Casey Anthony is obviously hot.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just do it now.
She is hot for an accused murderer.
That's very hot.
Oh my god.
She's obviously she's sexy. It's the last time we're going to talk about it. There's a lot of convoluted messages that come from her.
I don't predict the future, but I feel like you might bring it up again.
I'm going to bring it up again.
Yeah, of course you are. It's because it's one of her skills. It's like in how elves are better to sneak with in Dungeons and Dragons. Dwarves know mountains. Casey Anthony is hot. She can use that as a very specific skill. She doesn't have to roll for that.
Wow. You haven't said something that's gone completely over my head in a while, and there it was.
You don't need to know. It's D&D. It's fine.
But also, it's a brutal case.
Yes.
And also, what I didn't realize, because honestly, at the time, it was 2008. I was struggling in New York. I wasn't paying attention to the news. When I had heard about Casey Anthony. It wasn't until we pulled the top off this whole story that I was like, holy shit, this is very complicated.
Right.
Yeah, I really didn't follow the Casey Anthony case at all during the time.
I just remember Nancy Grace screaming at me about the case. And
Tot mom.
That's all I really heard.
Well, Anthony's murder case was given the full-on trial of the century treatment, the first of its kind in the social media age. When the verdict of the trial was announced, it's estimated that at least 10 Facebook posts per second were made by people who just had to weigh in.
Wow.
And we say at least 10 a second because that's the maximum number of posts that Facebook can count. So it could have been 20, 30, or 40.
And this was the beginning of the end for Facebook.
It started and then it ended.
Right.
And now now they know everything about us, and their building should be burnt to the ground. And honestly, Zuckerberg's home should be blasted out with a rocket launcher, and he should be put in prison. But it's over. It's already done. Your life's been sold to them.
Now, whether Casey Anthony is guilty or not, she proved herself during the course of the disappearance, the investigation, and the trial to be a liar. Now, one could argue whether she was a good liar or not.
I'm gonna just say she's not. But we'll get into it.
I would actually contend that she is, given the not guilty verdict.
You're all right.
Well, she got people to believe her, yes, but
That's
she...
all a liar has to do, Marcus.
Well, in the beginning,
No?
as she
Yes.
was telling the lie, people were believing her as she was telling the lie. She was very convincing in the telling of the lie. She was just not good at the execution of the lie. She just made shit up as she went along, just hoping that it would all work out. She was a great manipulator, yes, but a stupid one.
Hey, Tony, do you know that I can dunk from the free throw line?
I didn't.
I can do it. And guess what? If you believe me, you might just see my nipple.
I don't. Strange friends.
Trial lawyers and investigators like to say that Casey was among the best liars they'd ever seen.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's also like maybe they're just the most gullible people out there.
But just like the best criminals, the best liars don't get caught. And Casey Anthony always got caught.
So that's what technically, in the end, she always has to admit the fact that she's lying. So in the end, that makes you a bad liar. Because at some point, you have to tell everybody that you're lying, and she does it again and again and again.
Right. There's nothing worse than, just living it, talking about a lie for even if it's 15 minutes and then just finally being like, I'm just lying, guys.
I've been lying.
I got nothing here.
You pushed too hard.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't have pushed so hard, then we'd all be happy and we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. And with that, let's get into the pre-Kaylee life of Casey Anthony.
When we were all at ease. I'm not going to blame Kaylee for this because technically that's wrong and I will be pillaged by the internet community. But it is, if Kaylee was not born, this wouldn't have happened. Casey Anthony would just be in Orlando having a DJ's other child.
Kaylee was a beautiful 2.5-year-old. I love Kaylee.
Of course. It's,
Yeah, I mean,
it's very,
that's
very
what
sad.
that is something to keep in mind here, is that there is a dead child.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that is something that we do have to keep in mind here.
This
But
case is very emotional. I find it.
Well,
Yes.
that's one of the reasons why it was so popular, is because it was extremely emotional. But that still does not, it's just like any other thing that we cover. There are victims in every case that we cover.
I have not felt this visceral of emotion while researching a case since, which is sad, since close to the satanic government, and when we got into 9/11 and shit like this shit makes me incensed. Listening to how all of this went down. Casey Anthony, this is gonna be a divisive one, I think.
Well, I'm just going to say, mothers, don't kill your kids. It
Thank
ain't
you.
all right. And fathers, don't kill
Thank
your
you,
kids
Kissel.
either. Leave them alone. Leave them alive.
By most accounts, Casey Anthony was a reasonably normal girl during her childhood. People described her as bright, personable, and fairly popular. And I couldn't find anyone with anything bad to say about Casey as a kid, and she never really got into trouble.
But Cindy Anthony did say, she says little things about how popular she was, but also in a weird tone. She was she had lots of little boyfriends running around.
Yeah.
Which is very we're going to play into Cindy, of course. Cindy reminds me a little bit of my own mother. Which is terrible.
This is an issue with you.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, everything seems to. I think when we talked about Dahmer, you're he reminds me a little bit of my mother. The way she force fed me and didn't want me to leave the house.
Yeah, and anytime there's a horrible old lady, it's always, this woman really reminds me of my awful grandmother.
Right.
Yeah, my grandmother's a fucking horrible woman.
We need a Rorschach test with Zabrowski over there.
Well, with Casey Anthony, yeah, she was a fairly normal kid, but then high school came. And with high school came the lies. Just small ones at first. But at the end of her senior year, she told her first whopper.
Uh-oh.
Graduation time was coming up, and Casey had been chugging along like any other senior, picking out gowns and tassels and receiving gifts and sending out invitations to friends and family. As far as the family was concerned, all was well. But the day before the graduation ceremony, Casey's mother, Cindy, got a call from the school. They informed her that Casey would not be participating in the graduation ceremony. In fact, she wasn't even graduating at all. Casey had not earned enough credits to graduate, something she knew well in advance, but had not mentioned at all to her parents, taking the lie just up to the edge.
Well, it's almost as if she did all the fun shit and all the stuff that was easy to do, and all the party stuff, all the surface stuff, all the stuff on the exterior makes it look like everything's totally normal and fine.
Right.
But on the inside was harboring a super, super guilty secret and didn't want to ever deal with it, which seems to be a pattern.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like the school should have told her parents a little bit before the day before graduation, but that's just me.
Well, the problem is that I went through something quite like this. There was a time where, I was bad at school, but I'm good at tests.
Right.
So it's like I would go through and I was really concerned if I was not going to graduate my senior year. And I was kind of waiting until the very last minute to tell my parents until I passed all the tests and I graduated high school at the very end. But the problem is that I could see that not wanting to tell your parents, but the school also reaches out to you several times being like, this is how you can fix the problem.
Right.
So the problem is that they trust the students too much.
Oh,
They're actually
absolutely.
saying, yeah, they're talking to the kids as if they can make any sort of reasonable decision. And when you're 17, you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Well, this is probably going to be extremely not